Hello and welcome to another edition of The Nation. I'm Jared Ratnam, and we're very excited today simply because we have an award winner in the studio. Of course, she's been doing music for quite a while, and I've always had the chance to interview her every time she's free. She's free once again, and we're going to be talking to her. Her name is Poova. This is a new album. It's called Ticket to Fake Town. It talks a lot about the fake people within the city, and of course we're going to be delving into that shortly. But in the meantime, let's say hello to Poova. Poova, hi. Welcome to the show.
It's thank you so much for having me.
Having you back. The last time we had you was for some sort of a promo you were doing back then.
Yeah, with the radio show. It was my first radio show with you.
Mm-hmm. The radio show, and we had you on TV once.
Oh,
yeah, it was some L'Oreal thing. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh my God, it was some time back.
You're quite busy. Firstly, congratulations for doing so well at AIM. And of course, that's going to bring you forward to in representing our country, Malaysia, in Hong Kong. And this is for what?
This is the 2015 Hong Kong Asian Pop Festival that I'll be representing Malaysia for. And this is in conjunction with the AIM because I won the Best New Artist. So the country's sending all their best new artists in Asia to compete.
Buy the album.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Well, as Best New Artist, and things have changed quite a bit for you. Musically, also, monitoring your music from the time you started singing soul, subsequently moving to jazz, and now moving to a bit of electronica. This progression in your musical life, is it organic or was it changes made for PR reasons?
Definitely not PR reasons. It's definitely organic.
Yeah.
Because I grew up listening to all sorts of music, so my musical taste is quite eclectic. And for me, pushing myself forward as an artist is something that I've always aimed to do. So, I was, dabbing with a bit of hard rock and roll. That's how I started. I was singing Hard Time. In a rock band, and then I got into soul and jazz, and then I thought, wow, electronic music sounds like something I want to get myself into. And at that time I was really inspired by a few albums. I was inspired by the Gorillaz and Radiohead, and I was like, wow, you know what, listening to these albums I was very inspired to write something which was kind of different from what I was used to writing, so I wanted to venture into something, I wanted to venture to sound design. So I got into production and I produced most of my new electronic tracks I'm quite proud of.
Sound design, that's
sound
something we want to talk about in a short while. But for me too, my musical influence comes from the people I interview, and a while ago she introduced me to this fantastic singer-songwriter, James Blake.
Oh my God, James Blake!
I've been listening to Retrograde. That's like my theme song.
Really? Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Yes.
So that I didn't quite know about electronic music, whilst I was DJing, I did a bit of electronic music, but it's changed. It's progressed quite a bit, and listening to James Blake was like, wow, what's this? And that's something you like doing now,
something very minimal, and yet there's some deepness in the music, so I was absolutely inspired by his music as well.
Well, for those of us sitting at home, if I'm sitting at home now, asking, what is electronic music? How can you describe it? What's this music all about? This electronic music.
A lot of people think when they say, "Oh, you make electronic music, what is it? Is it EDM?" That's the first thing that comes to their minds. It's not electronic dance music. I like to call it intelligent dance music.
Intelligent dance.
I'm sure some people would like to shoot me right now when I say that. But I'm very inspired by beats. So when I was listening to Heligoland by Massive Attack, that album was just really so different from what I was used to.
Massive Attack has inspired like 3 generations musically.
Exactly. So trip hop. I was inspired by trip hop, and I thought, wow, I would want to make something so different and experiment with sound. And if I could make beats using different percussive instrument, for example, and kind of like work around it, and you do some treatment with the sound and make it sound different, and so it's a lot of experimentation that goes on in my studio, which I love. So I spend about sometimes 14-15 hours just in the studio, just experimenting.
14-15 hours in the studio.
You get absorbed in the studio and just working on sound. And I could take, say, a sound of a piano and make it sound different, because there are softwares that you can use to just kind of treat it differently. So it's about kind of making something organic and then turning it into something different, So not that I was bored with organic instrumentation, but I just wanted to kind of work with synth and you know, electronic kind of sound and just kind of work on it.
And with electronic music, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of us, when we work with bands, or when you know, back in the day when I used to have a band, it's so cumbersome trying to have them get to practice, putting a sound down. You know, if the guitarist doesn't arrive, that means there's no recording for that day. It's always been like that. But with electronic music, I think you're given the freedom. It's very personal.
It's personal, and yes, you said the right word, freedom. I mean, it gives me the freedom to just try everything. You know, it's and I love that experience, just to sit there and be free with the music. You know, and with the organic concept, I mean, as you said, sometimes you know, you want to, you know, you want to work with the guitarist, and the guitarist has ideas, and you're like, well, that's not going to work, and then you say, okay, can you give me something else? But that also depends on what he's listening to, you know, so having the right musicians for your kind of music is very important. And that is something that I had problems with sometimes, because the musicians listen to different kind of music, which is fine, because they offer something different to the you know, to the music. But you know, when you've been kind of listening to a certain kind of music and you need to gel with a certain kind of sound, and it helps when the musicians are in sync with your sound, you know. So it's tough.
But today all that is, you know, done away with. You know, you can do everything on your own, and but doing everything on your own, you need to have experience or sound experience, or you know, some kind of technical experience with regards to electronic music, simply because you're dealing with electronic music. So where did you learn that from? Did you pick it up on your own?
Yes, I did.
YouTube?
No, YouTube. This is software called Logic. I think a lot of singer-songwriters, most singer-songwriters I know, have dabbled with Logic, and it's a very user-friendly software. And I've been working with it, with Logic for the last 3-4 years, just, you know, trying new things. As I said, you know, for me, as an artist, it's always important to push yourself forward and learn new things. And I always love to learn. And so this was a perfect tool for me to sit and learn. And, you know, I listened to, as I said, listening to the kind of music I was listening to, and I just tried a few things at home. And having said that, I do need organic instruments to be, you know, to be laid in my music, like say acoustic guitar, and then I'll just kind of change the sound a little bit, you know, because it all depends how much plugins you have in your you know, software. So, but it's all interesting. It's a lot going on.
Well,
you know,
speaking of interesting, this is really interesting. So you won this at the AIM.
Yes, I did.
It's heavy. It's heavy, and it's the first time I'm holding one like this.
You know, I was not there for the award. As you know, my husband was there collecting the award. So I was in a Macau Jazz Festival, and I was pretty disappointed because I wanted to be there for AIM. It was my first national award. It's a huge deal. And
you beat the likes of many, fantastic singers in the country.
I was...
because you are yourself a fantastic singer.
Thank you. Thank you, Jared. I was supposed to sing for the opening AIM. That would have been really great, because I would have met a lot of people. I missed that. I missed that chance to perform. And I regret that a little bit. But, you know, Macau is also very interesting, because I love to get out of Malaysia and perform elsewhere and get new experience, and that was fun as well. But I would have loved to meet all the artists.
So how did this work? You know, are you nominated first? Are you told that you're nominated?
Yes. At first, I thought I was nominated for Best New Artist, and then I went for the press conference, and then they told me, congratulations, Poofa, you've been nominated for Best Vocals, Best Female Vocals.
But knowing Pua, even at that point, she wouldn't have taken it seriously. Okay, all right.
He knows me very well. And I was like, what? And he's like, oh, and you've also got nominated for Best New English Song. I was like, no way. Are you serious? And I was very, very shocked, because, you know, as a newcomer to this, you know, I still feel like I'm a newcomer, to be honest. You know, although I've been doing this for a while, I was absolutely excited. You know, I had no clue that I was going to be nominated for 3 awards. That's a huge deal for someone like me.
So nominated for 3 awards. You won Best.
I won Best New Artist. And I think the proudest moment for me was to be nominated for Best Vocals up against Dato' Siti Nurhaliza and Sheila Hamzah. And wow, that is amazing.
So, you know, after the award, have things changed for you?
Yes, definitely things have changed. Personally, I feel a lot more confident, and you know, I think it's opened my eyes to the Malay industry that I'm looking at right now. So I'm working on my new Malay single, which is very exciting. And also, you know, every week I feel like, you know, I'm being called for interviews, for TV interviews and magazine shoots, and it's been really, really amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know, lots happening in her life, and now it's going to take a turn yet again when she dabbles with Malay music.
Malay music.
That's going to be really interesting.
Yeah,
so,
that's going to be
what
interesting.
ideas do you have for?
Wow. Well, you know, after winning AIM, I thought, you know, wow, okay, I'm going to sit and write a Malay song. And I had no clue how to go about it because I was very nervous. Because writing in Malay, it's a whole different skill set. Because I've been so used to writing in English. So I have to think in Malay, and I have to think of, you know, it has to sound poetic. And, you know, I tried writing a few days, and I was like,
and that whole English writing style just doesn't work for the Malay language. Like, you know, Fifth Avenue heartache, you know, how do you say, you know, what? Sakit hati di Jalan Pasar. No,
you know, exactly.
It doesn't work.
You know, it does not work. And for me, writing is, it's a very important aspect of music, and I wanted to get it right. And so I thought maybe I should collaborate with someone. So I had no idea who I was going to collaborate with because I didn't know a lot of Malay writers. And suddenly, at night, I was absolutely inspired. I was sitting by the piano in my studio, and suddenly the music just, you know, the melody just came to me naturally, and I just started writing.
Right.
And I was writing the verse and the chorus. I'm like, what is happening? The words just came out of me. And mind you, I had A2 for BM in SPM.
A2 for BM?
Yeah, not that it counts, I'm just saying that, you know, maybe I had it in me, I don't know how, you know, but I don't know how it all, I mean, I'm trying to, you know, pitch it to the record company. I do want the local record company to
So you penned the lyrics yourself?
I penned the lyrics, I penned the melody.
No one helped you with
No one helped me at all.
I have to listen to
You
this.
have to listen to it.
Yeah.
And I did a basic production, so once that's completed, it's a demo, and I'm going to, you know, hopefully pitch it to the record
Of course,
companies.
when you write a song, it always helps when you have musical background and you
Yes.
read notes, isn't it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so it's easy. Like, you know, people like us who can't read music, we have to record ourselves at 3 o'clock
Yeah, but
in the
that
morning.
works as well, Gerard. You know, that works. I do that as well. I take, if I have an idea in my head, a melody in my head, I just take out the phone and just record a melody. And then I go home and just, you know, play it around, and I realize that it's not in the key that I'm supposed to be singing in. But yes, I think having background in music helps. I started playing the piano when I was very young, at 7, although I did not finish till grade 8, you know, but I was always writing music when I was young. So my piano teacher would come to the house and she was like, are you ready for your musical pieces right now? I'd be like, Mrs. J, and see what I made. You know, so I was always writing music. I was always making music.
But your background is vast in that you did Indian classical music too. Did you do?
I studied Indian classical music. My great grandfather was an Indian classical musician from Jaffna, and he came to teach music here. So my grandmother, my aunt, they all learned classical music, and I thought, okay, fine, I'll go for it as well. I mean, my mom was like, I think, you know, it will help you in your music, and I studied for 2 years. And I didn't follow through, but I think it helped a little bit.
No, but I'm sure some experience from that
I think the Carnatic
showing itself
ragas
now. You know, you see how
it helped with the vocal acrobatics that I have to do.
And the fact that you're a powerful singer also goes back to this, and not gospel singing, because we don't come from a gospel
we don't come
background.
from that. But you know, the power in my vocals, I have to say, came from when I was in a rock band back in 2005 with Jerry Felix. I don't know if you know Jerry Felix.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't know Jerry Felix?
He is the longest playing drummer in our country, and he's an amazing drummer. Because
he doesn't only play the drums; he plays everything attached to the drums, like mics, and he'll be hitting everything.
Oh my God, yes, he's so amazing like that. And so I met him, and you know, at that time I was listening to a lot of rock music, like Cream, Judge Tull, Led Zeppelin, you name it. You know, I was from a different planet, and he was like, "You're too young to be listening to things like that." You know, so we connected immediately, and he said, "Do you want to perform in my band?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Yes, I would love to." And so at that time, I was a very soft singer. I mean, you know, I didn't really have that power, but being such a hard-hitting drummer, I have to be up against that. So he said, louder, we can't hear you. So I think I'm just trying to train my voice to just sound big because I have to compete with this drumming in the band. So I was with Jerry, I think, for about a year. Yeah, so that helped. Jerry Felix, thank you very much if you're watching this.
And by the way, Jerry Felix is one of the better drummers. I mean, there's only a handful in Malaysia that are fantastic drummers. One is Jerry Felix, there's Gary Gideon.
Oh, yes.
There's a small
Louis
list.
Pergassim as well.
Yeah, Louis Pergassim. All amazing drummers.
Yes.
And you got to play with Jerry, yeah?
Oh, yes.
See, this girl has got some amazing stories. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to find out more about Puva, of course. If you're thinking of something to do today, go and buy the album. It's called Ticket to Fake Town. Puva. We'll be back shortly right here at The Nation. Stay with us.
Current issues, latest headlines, illuminating visuals. Everything right and now on Bernama News.
I travel not because I like to travel. I travel so I can say this. What you're looking for is inside of you, and you should be in peace.
Prem Rawat has been traveling for 40 years, inspiring people around the world to find peace within.
I go and I talk to people, and I present them with the possibility of themselves discover the peace that lies within you.
Ayah, nak kunci kereta. Budin dah habis cuci ni.
Rajinnya anak ayah. Nak ambil ni.
Tak apa ayah. Budin ikhlas tolong ayah ni.
Terima kasih Encik. Kalau Encik tak tolong saya, tak tahu apa saya nak buat.
Jangan macam ni, Encik. Saya ikhlas. Lagipun, kita kan sama-sama rakyat Malaysia. Kita saling membantu.
Ini rezeki pedagang Encik. Dah pun diluluskan.
Terima kasih Encik. Wah, cakap betul Encik buat kerja ya. Jom Encik, saya belanja makan.
Encik, ni memang tugas saya. Lagipun saya dah dibayar gaji untuk semua ni. Saya tak harapkan balasan.
Welcome back to The Nation. Jared Ratnam with you, of course. With me in the studio is Puva. If you haven't yet heard this album, go out and support the album. It's called Ticket to Fake Town. It's now being sold in major stores.
Yeah, major stores nationwide. Yeah.
So nationwide, you can get this album. It's an album dedicated to electronic music. Should I say?
No, this first album is not electronic.
It's not. It's not.
It has a little bit. Yeah, there are electronic elements.
It's an introduction to electronic. Okay. The next one is going to be full blown electronic music. Yeah. So coming back to what we're talking about, your music experience.
Yeah.
We're talking about that, and you know how you take music experience from when you started. Look at rock singing certainly helps with power now.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course your Indian classical singing. I don't know how it's helping, but somehow
it helps with the R&B runs.
The R&B runs, all the falsettos and So using all this experience now, when you see yourself moving forward to the next album, do you see yourself more of a, do you know what you want in your next album as opposed to, you know, every time we come up with a production, we are like, I think I could have done better here. But when you look at this album now, do you say
Ticket to Fake Town?
Yeah, not Ticket to Fake Town. What's going to come after this?
I think before AIM, I was very sure what kind of electronic music I wanted to make, and I was in the process of making it. And after AIM, I think right now my focus has kind of shifted a little bit with the with the Malay single that I want to make, and I'm also coming up with an English single which is a bit more pop. It has electronic elements in there, but it's just a bit more pop. But the electronic music I've been making before, it's a little bit dark, so I'm not sure how palatable it's going to be to the Malaysian audience, but you know,
we need to put music out there.
For sure. But that's something, it's a work in progress. I'm still working on that. You know, that's not going to change. And if you want to listen to that, the songs that I've made, they're on SoundCloud /Puva. You can listen to it.
SoundCloud /Puva. Those of us who are tech savvy, those of us who are not, we'll just have to wait for the CD.
You can listen to the electronic music I've put together. It's called White Light and Satellite. So yeah,
that's a really nice name, White Light and Satellite. What does that mean?
White light.
No, seriously, I like names that are mysterious and it takes some time to figure out.
Oh wow, White Light is about insecurities. Yeah.
White Light is
about insecurity.
It's a metaphor for.
It's a metaphor, yeah. Those two songs are very metaphorical.
Right.
Kind of. It has a concept to it. White Light's about insecurities. You being yourself, and it's important to be yourself. And sometimes it's hard because you're haunted by insecurities. So it's a bit deep that. That. And Satellite, it's about being watched. How I don't know.
The Eye in the Sky. You're talking about that? Yeah.
Do you know George Orwell, 1984?
Of course,
Big Brother?
Yeah.
So I thought of writing something a bit more,
a bit more real, our time, and how it's actually happening.
And freedom of speech and stuff like that, and how people actually watch you, and you don't have that kind of freedom. So it's a bit.
So that's more of a personal journey.
Sort of, yeah.
It's I don't know if it's a third party thing, looking at someone else's life and writing about that. I don't think it's not quite in sync with
I could do that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, people ask me, how do you draw inspiration writing songs? I say anything and everything inspires me.
Right.
I could write from a third person point of view. I could write about something I see and I don't like it, and or something that bothers me, but it's not about me. It's about something else or someone else. I could still write about that. So it doesn't have to be personal, But the music making, yes, it's personal, because I think, okay, this is the concept of the song that I'm writing. How would the music go to that for that? So I think about things like that. Yeah.
So it takes a lot of thinking, of course, to come out with an album, and it's always something that's interesting to me, simply because when you come up with an album, from song 1 to song 10,
it has to connect.
A lot of us find the easy way out and say, I like a mix of stuff.
Correct.
Sticking to a theme and a concept is the hardest thing to do.
Yes,
so a lot of us come up with a Pasumbo or Roja and say, I liked my album to be mixed. Now, it's not that I liked it to be mixed. I just didn't know what to do. And from song 1, track 1 to track 10, everything kind of is different. And that I think is not a good album. For me, an album is a very focused album. Yeah.
That is one of the most difficult and challenging things to achieve, to actually have every song has like it relates from track 1 to 10. It has like a story, and it's an album with a concept, and that's not easy to do, because you have to think about it.
I'm talking
overall.
about the concept. You're talking about the concept and a narrative, which is even harder.
Oh my God, yes. But with this album, Ticket to Fake Town, it was easier, I think, to write, because these were songs about me, and the experiences that I have had. My experience with, having a 9-to-5 job, which I left to pursue music.
Right.
That's called Slaves. Songs about
slaves.
And
I'm going to inspire myself to do it.
As a Woman Can was about an ex-boyfriend, Just Another Day was about being an artist and the trials and tribulations of being an artist and how difficult it is to be an independent artist. So these were easier to write and relate to, because these were songs about myself, So if you're writing about, I think if personal experiences are always easier to pen down, because you really feel them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but with the electronic stuff was interesting, because it was not necessarily about me. It was just about things that I observed from a third person point of view. Which was interesting. Yeah.
Right. And to put this album together, from the time you started writing the first track till the recording and mastering of the album, how long does it take? You just don't record the album. It needs to be mastered. You need to get the sound you want out of the album. That in itself is a lot of work too.
Yeah, I started writing the song in 2010, 2011.
Jeez, it's what, like 20?
I know, right? No, but I've done the songs in a span of a year, sort of a year, The first song I wrote was called Slaves, because I was kind of leaving my job and I wanted to pursue music full time.
Right.
And then I didn't know if I was going to write an album. I thought, okay, maybe I should just do a demo and pitch it to the record company and see what happens. And then as I was recording the demo, I met a guy called Rozan Razman, who's an amazing bassist, a local bassist. Now he's based in New York, and he's got a production house in New York. And I was going to just session him to play for one of my songs. And he heard the song and he was like, wow, I really like the songs you've written, and this is all your stuff. I'm like, yeah. You know what? I'm getting into production, and you want to do an album? Let's do an album. So he really psyched me about doing an album, because I didn't think I was going to do one. And I spoke to Rob, my manager, And he's like, yeah, okay, fine, let's do this. I mean, he was not charging so much. I only had a limited budget at that time. And he said, let's do this. You know, I have the equipment, and we can, let's sit down and plan how we want to do this musically.
Right.
So I worked with him, we collaborated with him, and he helped me a lot. And we recorded everything in his house, in his tiny little room.
She's inspiring me to write now.
You should get back writing. In a makeshift vocal booth that we made ourselves, actually. I mean, he made it, and we put like blankets and duvets on it just to dampen the sound. But he had great equipment, you know, and this is something I'm proud of because everything was DIY.
Right.
I did it by myself.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. You're very much your own person, and when you work with musicians, of course, when you work with a bassist or lead guitarist, sometimes you listen to runs in the or ideas that they infuse in your song, and you, I don't like that. How do you tell them?
Oh my God, I tell them. I tell them, you know, God, I'm sorry, man, that's not working out. Let's try this again, or let's do this another day, and then see how. And if that doesn't work, I think I've learned along the way to be absolutely honest with musicians. And I think being artists and musicians, you know, you're being creative, you're very sensitive to things like that. So you
creative people are always sensitive.
So you have to tell them, you have to say, you know, because this is your work, this is how you see it. And you know, I usually do like a basic production of my song, so I have an idea of how the song is going to go as a whole, and then the musicians hear it and they go, okay, this is how it's going to be, and then they will try to make it sound better. But if it's not something that you want, I think it's important to just say, okay, this is not going to work, or find somebody else. I think I've learned to be honest, because before this I would be like, oh, it's okay, it sounds all right, but inside I'd be like, honesty is important. If you don't like something, I think it's important.
So it's easier for you to tell them these days. When you first started,
it was not easy. It's easier to tell them now, I think, how I want things to be. But you know, I'm lucky because the musicians I work with are talented. Like the musicians I worked with this album were handpicked by Rozan, and I knew these musicians, and they're amazing, you know. So I didn't have that problem with this album. Actually, I don't really have a problem with my musicians, but sometimes, you know, you just have to be nice and honest to them and say, this is how I like it, and then they understand me. They know Puva, and they go like, okay, this is what Puva likes. She likes this, and we'll you know, cater for her. So I'm lucky. I'm lucky.
And looking at this album, you're not linked to any recording company, are you? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure. It's an independent. I'm an independent artist.
Way to go. You know. Okay, I've got a story to tell everyone. Like, you know, way back then, or rather, say like about 15, 20 years ago, recording companies used to rule this country. They used to dominate this country, and you know, whatever they said went. Today, the market is so open. Anyone gets to put out their own music. There's the great platforms like YouTube. There's SoundCloud. There's so many platforms for people to put their music out, and you know, anyone can listen to it. Back then it was controlled by recording companies. They still try to control it, but it doesn't quite work anymore, and that's one of the greatest things, or I think we've moved leaps and bounds when it comes to creativity or seeing creativity within the country. And doing also the flip side to this is doing your own album, and of course subsequently going and promoting the album and getting it distributed is also a bit of a headache, isn't it?
Oh my God. There is the creative
please go out and buy one now.
More reasons to buy the album. You know, you have your creative aspect and you have the PR and promotions, you know, side of things. You know, when this album was made, I was independent and I had no plans to pitch it to any record company. Everything was self-financed, and sometimes self-financing an album, it is one of the most challenging things as an artist because money is always an issue. You know, I was lucky because, you know, I get to perform in corporate shows, and I get, you know, good. They pay me quite well, so you know, and that funded the album. So that's how you work, and then the money goes to funding your creativity.
You invest that money into
it's an investment. But you know, there are pros and cons being an independent artist. I enjoy the freedom of being creative. I enjoy that freedom, making my own music. But the promotions and PR is something I'm still working on because I can be a bit of a private person. I like things, you know. I'm not one of those who go out there and say, "Hey, this is my album, buy it now." You know, I'm like, if you like it, buy it. If you don't, you know, it's okay. You know, music is subjective. So in that department, I wish I had like a team and a record label, the power of the record label behind me to
Right.
push my music forward. And I think right now that's where I would like to go, to have a power to push. Promote, yeah.
Have you ascertained or have you earmarked anyone to do this for you?
This album is done, so
this album is done for the next
Sony's
album.
helping me promote. It's not promote. Sony's helping me distribute it, so they're distributing the album. But the promo part, I have to do my own. Moving forward, as I said, with the Malay single, I'm hoping that a local record company would.
Right. So if you know of someone, or if you yourself do something like this, get in touch with Puva.
Thank you.
She's on Facebook all the time.
Yes,
And
Puva.
we're going to take another break,
Yes.
and when we come back, we're going to find out about the industry itself, and is it a really glamorous and glitzy industry? We'll come back and give you that information right here at The Nation. And in the meantime, take a note. Puva, Ticket to Fake Town. Buy it. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Menyelami realiti, menjejaki masa, meninjau peristiwa, paparan kronikal kembara kehidupan, pelbagai keunikan, juga pengalaman menarik. Segalanya disorotkan selama setengah jam dalam channel Bernama setiap Ahad jam 9.30 malam hanya di Bernama TV.
Halo, apa kabar pemirsa? Salam dari Jakarta. Sebuah program kerjasama Kantor Berita Indonesia Antara dengan Kantor Berita Malaysia Bernama kembali hadir menjumpai Anda.
Bos, kita kena hantar wang tak tuntut ke Jabatan Akauntan Negara. Ini borangnya, bos.
Berapa banyak kita akan serahkan tahun ni?
Ini ceknya, bos. Oh ya, jururadik pun ada dengan kita supaya buat serahan sebelum 31 Mac setiap tahun.
Pihak-pihak yang perlu membuat serahan wang adalah syarikat-syarikat, pertubuhan dan koperasi, badan berkanun dan firma. Serahan perlu dibuat sebelum 31 Mac.
Hello Malaysia, and welcome back to The Nation. And at The Nation today we talk about Puva, or rather we speak to Puva, the singer-songwriter who has moved from soul, R&B, jazz, she started with rock apparently, and today she's going to be coming out with an album called, which is very much dedicated to electronic music. But this album is out now. Go get it. It's called Puva, Ticket to Fake Town. Having said that, on SoundCloud too, the music's out there. Yeah?
Yes. A lot of my live versions of my songs are on SoundCloud, and as I mentioned before, my electronic music is also on SoundCloud. A couple of songs in there. It's SoundCloud/Puva, and you can find me on YouTube if you want to watch my live videos. I'm in the process of making my own music video, but just talking to some people about that. So let's see what transpires. And you can find me on Instagram, Puva, please, if you're into that
She's
sort of thing.
She's quite an Instagrammer. Seriously, I know nuts about being tech savvy, and I'm always nodding my head to everything everyone's saying.
But you have to be.
Yeah, I know. I have to be.
That's the only reason why I'm on those things. Otherwise, I'm quite private like that.
Yeah. So I mean, being an independent artist, you have to independently somehow, try promoting yourself.
Yeah.
But having said that, with musicians, singer-songwriters these days, what they know is the constant is this. It is a struggle, and you do it because you love it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we used to do it thinking we'd become rock stars in a year after signing up for an album. But it's not that way anymore.
That way.
Everyone's well grounded, and they know that if I'm going to get involved in music, I know it's going to be a struggle. If I'm going to make it, good, but it's my passion. And having said that, your passion is writing and of course putting your own music together. But you do corporate gigs.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Do you still enjoy doing it?
I do, because I get to perform my original songs, and I stipulate in the contract saying that I have to at least perform 2 or 3 of my original music. I'm a singer-songwriter after all, you know. And most of my corporate clients are more than happy to say, yes, Purva, we know you're an artist and you can sing as many songs as you want. So they understand me, and they're cool with that. So I enjoy that, because you know, you meet really interesting people in a corporate level, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm still a singer. You know, although I make music and produce music, but I'm still a singer, and I enjoy singing. I love singing. I love being on stage, holding that mic and just belting out my songs.
Right, but you know, I like watching singer-songwriters or people just going out there and performing this stuff. I really enjoy it. I was never a guy who sits down and watches people who'd sit and watch someone sing someone else's songs. I don't like it. I don't like it. And this culture of us, of course, requesting for songs, that has to come to an end. Seriously, it is so 80s, you know, handing out shits. Oh, Carol, please. You know, there's a great funk band playing there. Can you play me an Oh, Carol? I'm not condescending. I'm not looking down anyone. But you know, you have to respect the trade and the person who's singing out there. And I only learned that when I went overseas, and I go to a pub or go to a gig and watch people sing, and no one's sending out request slips. Everyone's just enjoying the music. And you know, when it comes to stuff like this, when you look at it, what do you think as a singer-songwriter?
Oh, that has happened to me once. Once, thank God, just once. I was doing a tour, Ticket to Fake Town tour a couple of years ago with my big band, and so, you know, naturally I'd be singing songs from the album and a lot of my original materials, and so we went to a pub. One of the venues to perform was a pub, and I went there performing my songs with my band, being the artist, you know, and then I had a request from someone, and I was, you know.
Was it Zombie?
No. After my song, I saw this piece of paper, and I was like, "What is this?" And I looked at it and I said, "Can you please stop performing your songs, and can we please listen to something that we all know? And can you please perform I Will Survive, because I think you've got a great voice, and I think you'd suit the song." And I was absolutely. I mean, I was a bit embarrassed, and at the same time, I was a bit disappointed, because here I am trying to promote my music, and people just don't get that, you know. But that's okay. It was just one venue, and I just had that one experience. But yes, you know, that was it
was quite
disappointing.
It's very hard to react to something like that. It is daunting in that, you know, someone sends you a slip to stop singing your own material, stuff that you worked so hard to put out.
I know.
And sing.
And I was like, I took the mic and I said, "Didn't you like my song?" You know,
but when you see all these things happening in the country, you know, I mean, within the industry, if changes need to be made, and you know, if we were to move on and progress as a nation, you know, musically, you know, what would you think needs to be changed?
Wow.
Are musicians, singer-songwriters, people who are involved in your industry being given a fair shake?
There are places where you perform your original songs. Unfortunately, you can't just perform anywhere, you know, because if you're performing in a pub, people expect songs that they know. That's fair enough. So I think where you perform is important, and I think there's a lot of, like, you know, festivals that's going on in Malaysia, which is great, that caters for singer-songwriters and original music. Places like, for example, No Black Tie, which is absolutely, you know, happy to have you there performing your original materials. So it depends where you play, and I think there are a lot of platforms in Malaysia. It's a growing urban industry market. You know, there are great singer-songwriters out there a few of them I really like their work, and there are platforms where you can perform, but it's growing, as I said. It's, you know,
but it's interesting that you mention No Black Tie, simply because, you know, like you go out, you want to sing your own song, and I did watch a friend of mine, Ezra Brown, and I was mentioning this to her off the airwaves, sing or rather perform at No Black Tie. He's a saxophonist from America, and he had singers to come up, and he featured singers like Dasha Logan, Ida Mariana, and Najwa, and they all came up and sang covers as opposed to singing their own songs, and I was shattered. You know.
Well, you know, you see, when I perform in No Black Tie, Evelyn, who's the owner. I mean, she knows that Pupa does.
Evelyn, who's the owner.
Oh, we love her.
Yeah, we all love Evelyn, of course. Yeah.
She's cool. And she knows that, Pupa comes and performs original materials. So people like her who, because I started in Black Tie. I started performing a lot of my original music in Black Tie. So I grew up in Black Tie that way. And they know that I do my original music, and I've got a lot of materials that I write, and they're cool with that, so they're fine with it because they know me. But I think if you're having a thematic show, which sometimes Black Tie has tributes and all that, and then you sing obviously the person that the tribute is for. So which is fun because it's it's songs that we all know, and these singers are amazing singers, and I'm sure they do a fair rendition of the song. So it's fun.
Right.
But I think there are nights in Black Tie where you have original singer-songwriters doing the original music.
Yeah.
So
see, but here comes the other problem, which is people like you who just want to perform your stuff.
Yeah.
And
not
I
many
mean,
places
if
out
you're
there.
a singer-songwriter, you should be performing your stuff. There's not many places to perform.
Places out there.
You can't even call it a circuit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there are still not many
There's
places.
all of 2 places, I think, that you can perform original stuff within KL. So it's not a circuit; it's there and back again.
Yeah.
So
but that's such a good point. That's why people like me thrive to perform in festivals, because that's where you get to showcase your original materials, and people come to watch the artists. People come to watch the music, and there are a few festivals, but not many. I think we should have more of that. I think places like, KL Center, is it called KLPAC?
KLPAC, yes, KLPAC, of course.
DPAC, where you get to,
Right.
sell tickets and people come to watch you perform your music. So you could do that, which I think that's what I'll do going forward. Having mini concerts like that.
Speaking of concerts, and let's talk about your preparations for Hong Kong.
Oh, yes.
She's representing us. Okay, she needs to keep fit.
Malaysia boleh.
Malaysia mesti boleh. You need to keep fit. What do you do?
Yes,
Do you have like an act where fireworks come out as you walk on stage?
I wish I could.
Yeah.
I wish I had like a big team going with me. A crew.
Right.
This is happening on the competition. Well, it's a festival, but it's a singing competition as well, and I'll be up against countries from the Asian countries,
Right.
Japan, Taiwan, and they're all best new artists in their relative countries. And it's happening 3 weeks from now. I'm really excited, nervous. I've been preparing myself.
Now, how do you prepare yourself? We'd like to know.
I've been performing 2
She
songs.
came in here. She looked at the TV, the monitor in front of me, and she was fat. She did say that.
No, but it's true. The
Right.
camera put on pounds on you.
Me, yes. I've got a double chin without camera.
No, but he's looking amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm blushing, but you can't see it. Well, so what do you do?
I go to the gym pretty much every day. I do triathlons. I'm into sports. I love sports. I do trail running. Triathlon consists of swim, bike, and run.
Right.
So I have a personal trainer I train with. So I'm always keeping fit. So that's I love sports and I love being active. So that's something I don't think
Right.
about. I wake up in the morning. I know I have to go to the gym.
And keeping fit vocally. Okay.
Yes, I do at least an hour if I can vocal. Exercises, breathing exercises.
Do you do all that?
Yes, I do.
You do
I
all
sing
that?
the piano.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I have it
Well,
all recorded.
what are they called? Triads?
Try it.
I don't know.
Scales,
Scales,
and then I'll do a bit of bubbling.
Yeah.
And a bit of the scales.
You do that every day?
I do that every day, actually. I mean, I tell all my peers, as my singing friends as well. I do it. I mean, if I can't do an hour, I'll just do 30 minutes. In the morning, I wake up, I have a glass of warm lemon juice.
Right.
That's like a ritual.
Right. And what's that meant to do?
It just, you just become, it's a healthy thing to do in the morning. It just kind of like hydrates your body,
Right.
And you just feel good after that. And apparently they said it helps with slimming your body.
Right.
Yeah.
Lemon juice apparently does.
Yeah, it
So does apple cider vinegar.
Oh, apparently
with the mother apparently. Just some food
Yeah.
facts for you. But
Yeah.
doing vocal practice.
Yes. I take that quite seriously, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, when we were younger, or rock singers of the 80s, okay, there was no internet, so you don't blame us for this. They used to tell us to dunk our heads in buckets of water and scream. And you used to come out with a sore throat or get calluses.
I've not heard of that one.
Yeah, we used to do all that.
But sometimes what I do is I gargle and I just like do like the scales with gargling my scales. Yeah, if that makes sense.
So as you get older, does your voice? You become a better singer. You become a smarter singer. You know how to economize.
Yes.
When it comes to breathing techniques, so on and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
But does your pitch drop a little?
Nope.
No,
I
it doesn't.
I feel like I'm getting better, actually.
Yeah.
I feel I'm sounding better. But I think I understand my voice now and what I want to do with my voice, which is interesting. So I'm always experimenting, especially with electronic music. I get to experiment a few things with my vocals. And I love my falsettos. I use a lot of my falsettos.
Right.
And before this, I used to just belt, and it's just one mono, it's just one-sided.
Right.
Now there's a bit more color, a bit more texture. I enjoy having all that in my vocals.
So there's a lot of dynamics now.
Dynamics, that's the word, dynamics, yeah. So, I mean, if you listen to my album, Just Another Day, for example, has a bit of that dynamics. It has, the soft bit and then the strong bits.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break, but before that, don't forget to get yourself the album. It's called Poova, Ticket to Fake Town. In the meantime, I had a friend text me a while ago. His name is James. He wants to know how tall Poova is. Well, I'll just have you know that if we stand right now, I look like a hobbit beside her.
Should we do this right now on national TV?
No, please don't. We'll take a short break and we'll come back right here at The Nation. We'll find out more about Poova. Stay with us.
Amalkan nilai-nilai murni. Ia boleh membawa manfaat dan menjadi teladan untuk semua. Ingat, ada yang melihat. Semarakkan nilai-nilai murni setiap masa.
Masa mengupas isu semasa, jadi saluran pelbagai suara, segalanya baru dan benar di Berita Bernama TV.
Welcome back to The Nation. We're currently speaking to Poova. This is their album. It's called Ticket to Fake Town. Poova, go get it. It's a retailing for I'm sure about 30-40 bucks, and it's available at all stores within Malaysia. In the meantime, for those of us who haven't heard of what happened to her in December, she came back home with this. Anugerah Industri Music 2 Artis Baru Terbaik 2014. So that's what you've achieved so far. So from here on in, now you've got the confidence, you want to move forward, you want to do something new, something fresh. And it's also, something fresh, which means going back to our roots, which is Malay music.
Yes, I'm very excited about that, actually.
So you've written a song, and the way to go, I think, or rather, a lot of people say, we'll always take Santana as a benchmark. When he thought he was going to fall, he took all these young musicians and he sang with them in an album, and that album won a Grammy.
Yeah,
and,
it did.
Yeah, but with you getting the foot into the door, getting into the industry, getting the coverage, the media coverage, that's very important.
Yes.
And once you've written your song, the next thing to do is to think of collaborations. Who do you have in mind?
Oh my God, I would love to collaborate. Yes. Joe Flizzo to start with.
Oh, yeah,
I would love to work with Joe
he's
Flizzo.
a great guy.
And Salam Music, because I love Salam Music. Even Locke from Monologue, I would like to do something with him.
Right.
I think their music is very interesting. Joe Flizzo has really opened doors for a lot of hip-hop, young
right,
hip-hop
he's
artists.
done a lot of work for hip-hop.
A lot for hip-hop.
And Joe, if you're watching this program, I kind of love your barbershop. I think it's fantastic. Joe's barbershop in Subang Jaya, I think it's a great barbershop. Well, speaking of Locke, when he came back from America, he went there to learn music at Berkeley.
Yes,
he wanted
he
to
did.
come back as a fantastic rock and jazz guitarist. But when he came back, he was jaded. And I spoke to him and I interviewed him, and he said, it's like you go there, you want to do all this, and you find out that you don't know where you're coming from. And he came back, and now a lot of his music is dedicated to his roots.
Yes, which is makes him very interesting, and to me he's an original artist because his music is so original, and he has elements of the Malay, ethnic music in it, which is the way he combines it, both those elements together, it's just pretty amazing. Yeah, I really admire his music.
Right. So, do you plan as to what you're going to do in this year? Okay, now you're going to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
You're going to represent Malaysia. When you come back, do you have plans as to what you're going to do next?
Yeah, I want to get on with my Malay song, and hopefully, people like it, and hopefully I get to represent the song for AJL. This year, Anugerah Juara Lagu, and that's my dream. At least, maybe the semi-finals. Right. And I just want to get more. I just want to get into Malay market and represent myself as this new artist. I mean, I am the Malaysia's best new artist, and hopefully my new Malay audience would accept me, and I hope I could move on into the scene. Yeah.
So at this point, with the musicians you use for your performances, do you use the same bunch of guys all the time?
Yes and no. I do have my regular guys that I work with. As I said, these are all amazing session players. So when one is not available, I know who I organize somebody else. Sometimes I perform minus ones, where it's just me and the backing track. I do both live musicians and
right. So when do you think this next album of yours is going to?
Well, as I said, I'm working on a single first, so I feel like I need to
It took 5 years to come out with this. No, we're pretty worried. In 5 years, I'll be 50. Okay.
But it's a lot of back and forth with the production and the artwork and everything. But yeah, I'm going to work on singles. I think that's easier.
So you're going to release singles?
I think that's more effective, so people can put me to the song. Right now, I think it's people know me as this amazing singer. Puva, we know her; she sings well, but they can't attach a song to it. So I want to do the song, the artist, and the music video, and then hopefully by the end of the year, when I have all the songs that I've put together, because for me, I don't write because I think I'm going to write an album.
Right.
Writing for me is I write something every day. I make music pretty much every other day.
But do you have that stress of, or do you go through that bit where you think, will people like this music? Does that happen?
All the time. I think that's part of writing. I think that's part of being a singer-songwriter. Will people like this? I mean, I don't know. I mean, this melody, But music is very intuitive for me. I just write anyway. And of course, I do bear in mind whether it's going to be palatable or not to people, but that's secondary. I mean, it's really, I know it sounds cliche, but it's something that comes from within,
right?
But yeah, so coming back to the single, I'm working on the singles and also working on an English single. So I think I'll always constantly release music.
Right. So when you release a single, the more important people who need that single is people within the radio, TV industry.
Yes.
Have they been forthcoming in helping promote your music? And be honest with us.
Yes, I think
we all work in the same industry.
No, I think some of the radio stations have been very, very supportive.
Right.
I think they're also they're looking forward to my single, especially my Malay single. So I'm excited about that. They said as soon as you're done with it, just let us know. We'll play it.
Right.
So in that sense, I'm not short in support. I think I think the media has been really, really kind and supportive to me.
Right.
They
No,
have been.
because you always hear stuff about, you're not given a fair shake at things simply because of your color, this, that.
Yeah,
it's not the case anymore.
No, it's immaterial, actually.
Mhm.
At this point, at this day and age, in Malaysia, it's material. I don't get that at all. Since I won AIM, the Malay media has been, receiving me very well. I've been getting front page and newspaper coverage, good newspaper coverage.
Front page all the time.
Yeah, I mean, in the entertainment section, that's what I meant. Not front page. They've given me good, good coverage. So I'm not complaining at all. So, and as I said, they're excited about my new single, and even more excited as a non-Malay. I think, entering this industry, I think they're very curious and excited to know what I'm going to put out there.
Right. So I'm pretty excited to know what this music's about, more so the lyrics and what she's come up with.
Stay tuned, you guys. Stay tuned.
Remember, she had an A2 for BM in Form 5.
I did.
Well, before I let you go, your message to Malaysia about your music or anything at all you want to tell.
I think to upcoming artists, singer-songwriters, I think if you're very passionate about music, I say go for it. Go for it and don't turn back. Just move forward and keep reinventing yourself, keep writing, don't stop. And it's important not to give up because it's a tough industry. It is tough.
And in this album, if you would recommend one track only.
That's hard because I love all the tracks.
Yeah, of course you wrote it.
That's true. Okay, I would say if you like something a bit more fast and upbeat, Move Over. And if you like something a bit more, melancholy, I think Just Another Day, which I'll be singing for the Hong Kong Music Festival. And Just Another Day is really about, a lot of my musical friends like Just Another Day because it's about life being an artist, the trials and tribulations of being an artist. So you might want to listen to that.
So when she comes back from the Hong Kong Music Festival, we're going to grill her on Bernama today. Take 20 minutes of her time. She'll be pretty busy by that time.
I'm always happy to come
Signing
and
autographs.
be interviewed by Gerard Bernama. By the way, my first radio interview was Bernama Radio.
Thank you very much, Pua.
Thank
it was
you
an
so
honor
much,
and a
Gerard.
pleasure.
Yes.
All the best.
Thank you.
And come back with another 5 of this. Yeah. So we're going to play some music in the background. We're going to end this show or this program with one of the tracks from the album. I don't know what track we're playing, but our producer has put it together. On that note, you have a great day ahead. We'll be back tomorrow with more for you right here at The Nation.